So the ostensible acquittal separating us from these reflections, however uh, desolatory they may be, has been revoked. So let's try to ask into the question of what is the politicality of Dasein? How does the political divide, especially understood as left and right, reach Dasein, or does it reach Dasein? So this is especially in thinking of how the haunts of Dasein are beset upon by the still remaining subject, by the agenda-setting philosophies or thinkings, Deleuze, for instance, Foucault, for instance, um, which deal with the subject and subjectivation in a way which in some way is in keeping with sort of Adorno Marx side of thought, and tries to push specific I am that I am specific uh, how does it say summum bonum uh, positions. So like we know the direction, we know which tack to take, we can read the stars. The stars don't nearly float about their shadowy way independent of us, but we can read the stars and we can tell you which direction to go. So there's a part of the remainder of the subject which is very much involved in political machinations and attempting to present projects in, let's say, radically progressive ways in the sense of Deleuze and Foucault, but attempting to set some kind of positive agenda, which is the agenda which is actually laid out and visible. So this is the subject analysis tends to be that way. And then the Dasein analysis tends more on the side of, so for instance, Heidegger is saying, interestingly, in this, the book that I'm now reading on one of his early lectures on the history of the Greek thinking, the beginning of our own as the beginning of our own thinking. He gives this example of the Pythagoreans as because of laying out numbers spatially, 1 dot, 2 dots, and then underneath the 2 dots, 3 dots, underneath the 3 dots, 4 dots to make a triangle. This adds up to 10, and the Pythagoreans, for various reasons, come to this view that 10 is the most perfect number, and then only discovering, apparently, I'm not sure what's included in the count, but apparently 9 bodies are discovered which are regarded as significant in the sky, and then there's one missing. So Heidegger says here we're going away from auf Deutsch, es gibt, we're going away from what it gives, from what's there. And suddenly we say there's only 9, but 10 is the perfect number, so there must be some hidden thing, which incidentally reminds one of the whole difficulty, the embarrassment of the so-called dark matter with regard to physics, but that just by the way. So es gibt, translated or interpreted as there is, which is straightforwardly fills the same spot in German as it does in English, but it's somehow, if you meditated on it, it has different suggestions. It gives rather than there is. Going away from what it gives or what there is, they say they posit this theory of the hidden 10th planet, this dark star Earth, or however they conceive of it. This is an example of what Heidegger says, going away from the subject matter or the appearances, or given in the correct thinking of different time periods, we could speak of going away from the phenomena, which is often a way of holding place. So you could say, here's the phenomena correctly referred to, and then what do we really think about that? Dasein, in comparison to the subject, would have to be attempt to constantly radically go to what is there and what can be viewed, and constantly try to shave off all of the workings, which are in some way can be shown to be leaps away from the phenomena or the what Eskip. I think of Zizek in this regard as a missed the sense of the putting things into brackets, has missed the sense of how radically new that thinking is, both in Husserl and in Heidegger. And he continues to push this notion that this was always known, that things were held at a distance, remotely gazed upon in suspicion, held in abeyance, that this was always tacitly the case, and that there's no need to make all these steps back, that maybe it might be possible, if we considered things in the light of Greek thinking, to propose to ourselves the notion that in the region of certain languages, perhaps the German language, perhaps the related English language, perhaps some early Slavic language gives it different. In the region of some particular language which we happen to be in, we might be able to draw closer to being, or to say somehow to ourselves what we really want to understand in the phrase being, this question of being, or et cetera, et cetera. But it's no need to go into all this sort of mockery of the formulations. Of course, the formulations might be in some way ridiculous, they might be necessary, but the basic idea behind it is new, so far as one can tell, and I think Heidegger gives quite a few examples, and if one just think of the examples, I mean, if one think of all the things that are really cause a great stupor and amazement when one learns of them, that only after the time of Luther did some early Lutheran monk come up with this habit of always referring to things in terms of centuries and happening within a given century, and then later on and around the French Revolution it kind of caught on, or that 17th century, 16th century, 15th century, what happened in this particular 100-year period, and then that starts to be a forcing pattern. It starts